The Lego Movie was a huge hit when it was released. It got great reviews for encouraging kids to be themselves and be creative, but the creators snuck in some darker adult messages. Don't forget to subscribe to The Things for more videos just like this one. Be sure to hit that notification bell and check out our community section for more crazy fun. Now, let's explore these dark secrets. President Business looks familiar. When the Lego Movie was being written and animated in the studios, America was in the middle of a presidential election. President Obama, the Democratic candidate, was running for his second term. The Republican candidate was a businessman turned governor named Mitt Romney. Romney was really rich and received a lot of criticism for being out of touch with most Americans. Many people were concerned that having a businessman as a president would be bad for the country. It was a close election, and it was pretty much all adults heard about for months. Romney did not win the election, but it looks like he did in the Lego world. Many people pointed out that President Business, the bad guy who turns into Lord Business, looks a lot like Mitt Romney. President Business threatens Emmett and the others with Craggle. That's crazy glue, which is totally not awesome. Thankfully, in the movie, Emmett helps President Business have a change of heart and be awesome. And we're glad we've never had a president threaten us with crazy glue. Do you think President Business looks like Romney? Regardless of who he resembles, this is not the only political message in the movie. Kryptonite. You might have to be a real Superman fan to understand this joke. This joke was very quick and subtle, but it's a really dark joke. In the movie, Lego Superman finds Lego Green Lantern annoying. Like, really annoying. He makes his annoyance well known at the Master Builders meeting, but later on, Superman gets thrown into jail with the others by President Business. He is stuck next to Green Lantern, and he is not so happy about it. He asks,
"We're roommates! How crazy is that?"
Does anyone have some kryptonite that they could give me?
If you aren't a comic expert, you might know that kryptonite is an element from the planet Krypton. That's Superman's home planet. Superman is pretty close to invincible, but he can be destroyed by kryptonite. So Lego Superman is suggesting he'd rather destroy himself than be stuck next to Green Lantern. We've all known annoying people, but Superman is being super dramatic here. We aren't sure this joke is as funny as the writers intended it to be. Let's hope the sequel doesn't have any real dark humor like this joke. Communism. This particular political message is a bit confusing. The Lego Movie received criticism for being both communist and anti-communist. Huh? Maybe adults just read way too much into this kids' movie. For a quick lesson, communism is when the government controls all businesses, so you can't just go start a business. Business is everywhere in the Lego Movie, and it inspires us to not just fit into what businesses want. Some people think that this is an anti-business attitude and encourages anarchy or going against the government. But other people say the movie is actually pro-business and anti-communism. Some critics have said it glorifies big business and encourages the classic American attitudes of hard work and entrepreneurship. The Lego Movie definitely has a lot to say about politics and economics, but here the message isn't very clear. Adults just can't agree whether the messages are about big business or good or bad. But then again, adults can't agree on a lot of things anyway, and it can't be too anti-business considering Lego is kind of a giant corporation, right? We will stick to just laughing at the movie and trying our best to be awesome. Let's leave the economic philosophy to other people. So lonely. Emmett is a great main character. He's funny and kind and is definitely special. But before he is believed to be the special, he is actually living a pretty sad life. He's got a life manual that tells him how to be happy, but his life just doesn't fit the manual.
Ah, here it is.
Instructions to fit in: have everybody like you and always be happy.
He knows all his neighbors by name, but they don't know his. We love movies that have us rooting for unlikely heroes, but Emmett is so sad and doesn't deserve to be so lonely. We feel so bad for him, and then he gets captured like he's some sort of criminal. Poor guy. We all feel lonely at some point in our life, so Emmett is very relatable. It's really sad that he spends so much time trying to live his life a certain way and make friends. We are glad that he realizes he's awesome and doesn't need to fit in with everyone else. The beginning of the movie tries to use humor to show how lonely Emmett is. But if you think about it, he's living a pretty dark life. The end of the movie totally turns his life around though, and Emmett is always so positive. We wish he didn't have such a sad start to his good life, because he's just such a nice guy. Classic capitalism. We've already talked a little bit about all the political messages hidden in the Lego Movie, and we've figured out that no one can really agree on a lot of it. But really, Emmett and his friends aren't anti-business. They aren't anti-corrupt business. Emmett doesn't have superpowers, but he can still achieve greatness. Through hard work, creativity, and being resourceful, the Lego Movie sounds a lot like those old government philosophers we learned about in history class. Although the movie is quick to point out the problem with bad business leaders, like President Business, it's also about finding your place and being your own person. President Business has micromanagers. You may hear lots of adults complain about bosses that micromanage, and this movie doesn't like them either. It values a person's independence and skills over being controlled. It's really a movie about freedom. And while most of us just love the movie for its funny jokes and characters, we bet a lot of working adults really love it for this message. And we're sure some really hate the message too. Oh well, we'll just keep on laughing at Emmett and Batman and Lando. Big Brother. If you're in high school, you might have read books like 1984 or Brave New World. These are super serious books about societies where the government controls everything. If you ever hear about Big Brother, that means that the government is always watching you, even in your private life. You know, kind of like the old reality show, but without a prize at the end. And the Lego Movie hints at a Big Brother-like government. The Lego citizens are encouraged to basically be the same, and that being different is bad. There's a bunch of propaganda encouraging people to buy the same cars and to integrate. Another sign says, conform, it's the norm. There are so many rules, like no gum and no marching band. And don't forget the life manual. You're always being watched to make sure you don't go against the grain. And when Emmett and the gang try to fight back, they get thrown in jail and attacked. President Business has an idea of how things should be, and he uses his power to keep it that way. We're just glad there is a lot happier ending than some of those scary books with the same messages. Think that's dark? Keep watching to find out the darkest secret the movie's creators don't want you to know. Brain damage is no joke. Do you remember Benny, the funny little dude who's obsessed with building a spaceship? Spaceship, spaceship, spaceship. He spends the whole movie talking about building one, and his friends keep telling him no, but he finally gets the chance to build one and help save the day, and he totally freaks out in excitement. Benny is harmless, but definitely a little odd. You might think Benny is just weird and excited, but Benny's space helmet has a crack. It is totally possible that Benny has brain damage from whatever cracked his helmet. While Benny's character is good for a laugh, brain injuries are serious and often change people's personalities forever. We think it might have been funnier without a cracked helmet. Poor Benny. We're so glad he finally got to build a spaceship, and we hope his only major issue from his injury is his obsession. At least it didn't affect his ability to build a totally amazing spaceship. Lando the Flirt. And one of the many throwbacks to the 1980s, a Lego version of Lando Calrissian from the original Star Wars movies is one of the characters, and the coolest part is that he is voiced by the original Lando, Billy D. Williams. But Lego Lando is a little different from the old school one. This Lando is such a flirt. When he sees Wild Style, he tries a totally smooth or totally creepy pickup line.
Might be the right galaxy after all, because I see a heavenly body.
Batman asks if he can take a ride on the Millennium Falcon. Lando throws him a suggestive shoulder shimmy. It makes sense that Lando would flirt with absolutely anybody. After all, he does come from a galaxy far, far away with lots of people who aren't even human. Of course, neither Wild Style or Batman are all that interested in Lando, but he is such a flirt. We doubt he even cares. Other than Lando, the Lego Movie is pretty wholesome on the flirty side. Bad Cop. Bad Cop gives a whole new meaning to the term two-faced. He has a mean face and is one of President Business's cronies, but he's got a real internal struggle and a whole other face. You can see that he is hiding a good cop face, but President Business is the worst and punishes him for losing Emmett and the others. He uses the Craggle on Bad Cop's parents, but the good cop side refuses to finish them off. So what does President Business do? He erases the good cop face.
No more, Mr. Nice Guy!
Only Bad Cop is left, and he freezes his own parents. Bad Cop is a metaphor for the corrupt police officers. He abuses his position with police brutality, using deadly weapons. But because most cops are good guys, he redeems himself later in the movie. Good Cop was more than just a face, and he draws a new happy face on with a permanent marker. We are so glad he did what was right, but the creators definitely were throwing in some political commentary with his character. After all, the Lego Movie was released the same year as the Ferguson riots, so it was really relevant. A giant advertisement. Did watching the Lego Movie make you want to go home and play with your Legos? Or maybe it made you want to buy some more? That's exactly what Lego wanted to happen. Sure, the movie didn't tell you to ask your parents for Legos, but the movie was really one big advertisement, and it worked. Legos have been around for decades, so it made parents nostalgic for the hours they spent building things as kids. It made kids add Legos to their Christmas lists. The movie rekindles working adults' love of play, as Will Ferrell's character lightens up to play with his son. The Lego Movie wasn't a girls' movie or a boys' movie. It appealed pretty equally to both genders. Lego sales jumped 14% after the movie released, and increased 25% the year after. They capitalized on the success and released movie-themed toys and video games. 3 years later, they released a Lego Batman movie and are releasing a sequel to the first movie in 2019. The Lego Movie was a marketing success. Every time you watch it, you're basically sitting through a giant commercial. Who was your favorite Lego character from the Lego Movie? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to The Things for more awesome content.